What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Hope you're doing well today, and welcome to Dirty Creek. This is the newest, I guess, collaboration between Reimagined and King MX, and this track went up on the store today, and I apologise if this video comes out an hour or two later than what you usually expect to see out the channel. I've had quite a stressful, day so far. Not in terms of like doing loads of stuff, something that directly impacts me, but more just sitting and waiting. What has happened is the internet in my area has just been out since like late last night, and it is Friday as I'm recording this. The time is currently 2:40 p.m. for me, and my videos usually go up at about 4 p.m. and I have to stream Aerial tonight as well. So I'm hoping that all of the issues have now been fixed. I did try on my phone earlier today setting up a hotspot, but I couldn't even load up MXB Shop on the hotspot. It was just that weak, so that is a bit of a no-go. So I'm praying, I'm crossing all of my fingers, all of my toes, everything, that the internet is sorted now. So I'm with Virgin Media, and this exact same thing happened about a month ago, and they put updates up. You can go to their website and see like when they're working or like planning on fixing it, etc., and time frames. And last time this happened, they had the time, let's say it's 2 p.m, that they went to go and fix it. It worked for 10 minutes, and then it went down again, and then they went back to fix it another 2 hours later, and it kept going and going and going to the point where the entire day we had nothing. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen today, because if it does, I mean, the universe is working in mysterious ways. Because if you remember last week, the whole reason that I have this red plate on my bike in the first place is because Finn, who was leading the championship by literally like 20-30 points after just 2 rounds, his internet wasn't working for the day, so he couldn't show up, which is why me and Hakon have joint red plate right now. So if I now can't show up and lose the red plate because of that, that would just be a very interesting way of the world working. So yeah, if it does go down to Hakon and also to Tyler, I think it's only 3 points behind us, sat in third. If you could also not show up today, that would be very, very much appreciated. That would definitely be fair, and let Finn take the points lead back. Anyway, let's get on to this track. So, made by King MX. I was meant to play this. I was meant to already have the video up for you, obviously, but time did not allow that. This track is apparently meant to be a little bit more on the technical side as we go through here. Looking at the track map, it's actually quite a short track. What to do? 1 minute 30-ish for my first lap on it. And so far, it does seem very, very straightforward. And that is always a good sign on tracks like this, when you can go and hit jumps and hit ruts and corners without any, like, practice laps at all. When you can ride it absolutely fine, it usually means that there's been a good amount of attention to like timing and a lot of practice put into the track to where it flows well. I would jinx myself, wouldn't I? We're not blaming the track flat, we're blaming for me getting a little bit overzealous on the old throttle. So something else I want to talk about, sorry, before we dive into the track some more, is in Aerial today, appearances may be deceiving, because you may think, oh, Linz is still on his Triumph model swap on the Gas 450. You are wrong. I've switched it up today. I'm trying the KTM. Now, some of you are probably already slapping your foreheads, being like, what is this guy doing? He's just trying to sabotage his own championship. But, hear me out. I played Thunder Valley the other day on the KTM, just curious, and I swapped over, firstly, the model swap, so it all looks the same for me. But then also, I used my gas suspension and put it on the KTM. And my best lap went from being, I think it was a 55 on the gas to a 52 on the KTM. And then even 2 nights ago, I just thought I'd load up the track, put it on 8 litres of fuel, so it's how much I run for races, just to get the feel of it. And I ran, I think, 6 or 7 53, 54, 55s back to back to back to back to back to back to back. Just felt really, really good, really comfortable. And I will say the only thing that I've noticed about the KTM is sometimes it feels a little bit nervous, like it can feel a bit twitchy. If you're in a section, let's say, where you've got an S-bend and there's chop going through that S-bend, trying to get the weight over from one side to the other can be a little bit dangerous sometimes. And it almost feels like a lot of the weight of the rider/bike is all really high up. It's almost like your rider's head is where all the weight is, so it feels like it can kind of topple you side to side. But I'm trying to get used to it. I've spent probably maybe like 3-4 hours on the bike since trying to learn it. So I'm trying to get that muscle memory slowly built in as well, and hopefully tonight it goes okay. Hopefully I might be a little bit faster. The only reason that I was thinking of switching things up is because usually you guys know my tactic is always slow and steady and trying to be consistent. which last week it did work. It did work. I managed to get the... Did I get the overall in the end? I did get the overall, I think. Yeah, I got the overall, but I definitely was not the fastest person on track, or even close to being the fastest person on track. Like, towards the end of Moto 2, Tyler was running about 3 seconds lap faster, which is just not okay. I can't just rely on praying that people crash over and over or get bad starts over and over again. I do need to also go fast at the same time. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to see if I can go a little bit faster while still retaining some of that consistency. And if today does go appallingly, then by all means, I'll go back to the gas for the rest of the season. That's if I can do the race today at all. That's if the internet holds out for me, which I'm praying it will. So back to the track. If you hadn't noticed already, I mean, clue is in the name as well. The track is called Dirty Creek. You may recognise the track layout as well. It is based quite heavily off of Muddy Creek, obviously with a couple of other changes here and there to make the track feel a little bit different. But I can definitely feel it feeling very, very like Muddy Creek, just in terms of general layout. And it's quite cool. It's quite nice. It's quite flowy. The only thing that I will say in terms of like feedback, if they feel like taking any feedback on board and implementing it for the next track, I don't know if it's because I currently have quite a lot of light shining in this window here, shining onto my monitor, but the dark bits of the track are very, very difficult to see anything for me. I don't know if that is, again, because there's light shining on my monitor, so I guess it kind of washes things out, or if it's meant to be that way with quite heavy shadows. But my old man eyes are struggling to see some of these dark areas. But other than that, it looks quite pretty. You know, greens are nice and green, got a nice bit of foliage dotted about. Oh, nice. Oh, it looks very good, very bright in other areas other than in the dark, shadowy bits. And yeah, done a good job with the objects. It feels very, I wouldn't say, it doesn't feel like a national as such, but it just feels like quite busy. So there's no empty spaces anywhere, which is usually quite good. It makes you feel more like you are on an actual racetrack rather than out in like some sort of private facility. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. There we go. And also, I can't say too much because I don't actually know much, but Mr. King MX, who made this track, is also working on another track that's going to be released for free over the next coming days. I'm not sure if he's put any pictures of like teasers and stuff like that or anything, but he slid into my DMs to let me know that, and he sent me an early link to give it a go. So I reckon I'll probably check that out probably tomorrow at some point. The video will be out in the next day or two. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, in terms of videos, I do apologise if I'm having a day like here or there where I don't upload anything. It's just in terms of MX bikes at the moment, it's almost getting like a little bit samey. So I need to try and find evenings to record rather than daytime, so I can get some more multiplayer stuff going on. Because the usual time that I record these videos, they do only really lend themselves to me doing videos on new tracks. The multiplayer stuff has to wait until the evenings when there's actually people not at work, not at school. People in the US have woken up by then and they can play as well. It's just trying to get a group of people together to be able to play. But, oh, that's on me as well. You can see that outside, not quite as, it's more of like a slope rather than a deep rut. So that is on me, trying to go a little bit too fast there. But it's nice seeing that we've got some corners where you can kind of split back and forth line-wise. That is very, very nice. I'd like an inside rut there, maybe. I remember any time that I've played Muddy Creek or watched a race on Muddy Creek, that inside or that corner after the finish always has a good maybe 3 or 4 different ruts going through it. And boy, if we're going to segue and talk about ruts, if anybody has seen the track preview of High Point, she looks absolutely brutal, but I'm here for it. It does look like it's going to be slow and steady, up on the peg, smooth on the throttle, try and take the corners as smooth and as one corner as possible, so starting on where the rut starts, ending where the rut ends, and I'm excited for it. It should be really, really good fun. I've not seen anything too crazy in terms of lines. I'm not sure if you can like double down the hill before the finish at all, like that video that's been going around on Instagram recently of someone trying to send it and jumping off the right hand side. No idea, but we shall see. High Point has always been a bit of a hit and miss track for me, I'll be honest. I really liked the 2022 version that we had. Absolutely detested the 2023 version. I believe I actually rage quit that in Moto 2. I think I won the first Moto and then rage quit Moto 2 because I just wasn't enjoying the track whatsoever. So hopefully Stoney's cooked up a good one for us, and you know he's kind of at the point where he's fed up of listening to people complaining about tracks being too difficult now. Because at the start of the preview lap, he's put like a little clip of someone being like, you know, like slow is smooth, smooth is fast, and so on and so forth. And that's just how I try and play the game anyway, is trying to be as smooth as possible. So I'm hoping it works out in my favour. I have also seen I'm not throwing people under the bus, because this is just people's opinions and they're fully entitled to it. I've seen some people complaining about the pros complaining about the tracks being too easy, so they're making the tracks harder and harder, and in turn that affects the general community, and it means that most of the community can't play the game and enjoy the tracks. Just to counter that straight away with 2 points is there are AMS versions of all the tracks that are released that are a lot more groomed, less rough, less deep ruts, etc. for the general community to play on. But also, going back as far as 2022 outdoors, the tracks that are being made for the aerial series, from Stone Rider's mouth or keyboard, whichever one you want to refer to as himself, he has said these tracks are not made for the general public. They are made to be as hard as possible for the best players in the game to challenge them for the series. So there's just my 2 cents thrown in there. I know obviously my opinion varies to a good 95% of the community, but that's just how it is. I think I saw Austin Crank just explain things really, really well, where basically what I just said, where the tracks are made for the pros, but then also in regards to like the shop, the pro scene is what kind of keeps the shop alive as well, because you never see any of the casual tracks on Deddy servers unless there's like a streamer doing a live stream, for example. Tracks like this and the other Reaper tracks, you know, like Hurren tracks, for example, a lot of them are just for casual testing purposes. You don't really see them being kept alive after a week of them coming out on servers. So yeah, when in terms of like tracks being paid and the general community having access and being able to hop on and play these racetracks, they're not for that. They are for competition and to be really, really difficult. So yes, just my 2 cents on that whole situation. There seems to be a little bit of back and forth at the moment between the top boys and the rest of the community, and almost no hostility between it, but it is just different opinions and different ways of playing the game, I suppose. But yeah, for people like me, a track like which one was it? Yeah, a track like Hangtown, it is too easy. Like some people that are just picking up the game, they'll think, you know what, it's actually quite hard because some of the downhills are fairly rough. But if you've got a couple hundred to 1,000 hours on the game at least, then you'll find that track very, very straightforward. Once you've worked out to hug the left side of both downhills, the rest of the track is just really, really straightforward and easy to play. So I think from a competitive point where we are trying to get the tracks as difficult as they can be to create that skill gap for the racing, I'm happy getting tracks like Thunder Valley, and then High Point also looks to be really, really difficult as well. Very, very deep, long ruts, and I'm excited for it. I know as soon as I was watching the real life High Point and saw people really, really struggling in that, how would I even explain it? So basically one of the last sections of the track is they kind of go down almost into like a bomb hole into a left-hander going back up the hill in towards the uphill triple. The uphill triple before the finish. It was like really, really deep. It's where Chance Hymas was getting hung up quite a lot in Moto 1 and almost like high siding. I saw that and I was like, oh god, I hope Stone Rider makes that absolutely brutal in game. That'd be so much fun. And it looks like he has. He's done from what seems to be from the preview lap, a very, very good job of making things brutal for us. So that's enough waffling for me about tracks and how difficult they are. Again, I'm aware that my opinion does differ to most because of my position in the game and how much time I've put into getting good at the game as well. We're literally on like 3,500 hours at this point, which is actually disgusting to think about the amount of time I have sunk into this. But it's still enjoyable for me. It really, really is. So as long as I'm finding it enjoyable, I'm happy with whatever comes our way, and it's created some really good racing so far. Some of the closest and most intense racing of any year. I think we're going into races now where there's a good 5+ people that can win, and we haven't had that in the past. It's been like a maximum of like 3 people per race. So see you all later for High Point. Hopefully it goes okay. Hopefully my internet is working to the point where I can stream it as well. If not, then I just have to give up the red plate without even being able to fight for it, unfortunately. But very good job, as always, from King and Reaper on this little collaboration that we have here. Go check it out for yourselves and let me know your thoughts on it as well. And keep an eye out for King's track that's coming out for free within the next couple of days also. I'm going to love you and leave you there. Again, apologies that the video is probably coming out an hour or 2 later than usual. It was out of my hands, but I hope you've enjoyed regardless. Do drop a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new, all that lovely stuff. Have a lovely rest of the day, whatever you're up to, and I will catch you in the next video. Peace.
Lynn's in the zone, never backing down. Riding MX bikes, he's the talk of the town. 2022 champ with a YouTube crown. His game is tight, no signs of slowing down. Late nights, bright lights, he's chasing that fame in the digital arena. Writing his name, she's a 10 out of 10. Supporting his lane, hairline might receive, but his passion's the same.